The Minecraft live event for 2024 just finished. Hello there, Ray here. Let's go through everything that was announced during this event. So it started out with the pre-show where they looked at a bunch of different Minecrafters and different ways they were enjoying the game as it currently is. They then talked about the Ender Cup and the competition to win it. Then they showed a lot of cool artistic things people did over the past year, including many unfortunate deaths. Then the main event of the show started, where they covered the origins of Minecraft and how they're trying to continue that same feel that we had for the game throughout the years going forward. They then talked about how they're bringing hardcore mode to the Bedrock edition, which is something we've had in Java edition for quite a while. They then talked about this upcoming update, which has the bundles and is going to be called Bundles of Bravery, similar to how the Dogs update was called Armored Paws. They're really excited to see how people use bundles not only for carrying useful items, but also for ways to tell stories. They then had a cool animation of villagers going into a forest and getting killed off for the creaking mob, which we'll hear more about later in the video. They then gave us some insight into a Minecraft movie, which is the upcoming Minecraft movie coming next year in April. A little bit of behind the scenes. They explained how these misfit characters are purposely misfits and they're coming together to try to take on this new weird Minecraft world where everything is blocky. Now Steve, being the main character, knows everything about Minecraft, but they also mentioned how the younger boy is going through struggles in life, as well as this guy who's wearing the pink jacket is supposed to be like a really good gamer back in his prime, back in the day. But now he still thinks he's a good gamer, but he's really actually the noob in Minecraft. And that's why he has this kind of like retro outfit. And they even explained how he was trying to craft something really cool here, but ends up crafting these buckets. And this actually answers quite a bit of questions to why the movie looks the way it does. They're not only trying to make it look like Minecraft, but they're also remembering that the characters are actually human, therefore the different things that they hold and carry are all human size, and the world itself is completely different as they get swept into this dimension, which isn't like their normal lives, but instead is all Minecraft related. Then it went on to talk about the Minecraft experience, which is an in real life event in Dallas, Texas, United States. They showed a lot of different little clips of people playing around in the games and different things that you can do. I'll be actually attending this event, so I'll give you some more information about that on my channel, so make sure you guys are subscribed, and I'll let you guys know what it's all about. Then we got to see the new biome that they've been talking about called the Pale Garden. They purposely made this biome look really lacking color to make it look scary, and they also made the ambient noise to make it really spooky. They also tried to lower people's vision by having all of these vines. These are known as moss vines. They also talked about the new mob called the creaking, which is this wood-like creature that actually lives in these biomes. It only spawns at night, and it only comes towards you if you're not looking directly at it. It also has really creaky noises when it walks, so you can hear it, but when you try to attack it, you cannot actually do any damage to it. But the way you have to kill it is you have to hit it and then follow these particles to the nearby tree that it's connected to. And once you follow it to tree, you can find the creaking heart block. Once you destroy this block, it will immediately cause the creaking to instantly die. But you can also use Silk Touch on block and get the block as an item. You can also place it down, and this will spawn in a new creaking mob if it is dark out. Now the actual wood that's inside of it are these trees, and they're called pale oak trees, and you get the pale oak wood from them. And with it, you can build a lot of grayish and whitish builds. There's also the new hanging moss. It's kind of like a vine that hangs downwards, including the new carpets, which are called pale moss carpets. Notice that when you place them down, they automatically have these little vines creeping up the sides, and if you bone meal it, they can grow up a bit higher with the max of being 2 blocks tall. This also makes it so that it kind of blends in with the nearby blocks. And their inspiration for these trees were the different types of willow trees, as well as the hanging moss being the Spanish moss. So you can find this new hanging moss as well as pale moss blocks and pale moss carpets in the new biome. And the trees do look very similar to oak. Since we have the dark oak, we also have now the pale oak. Now it does seem like other hostile mobs can spawn in this biome. We did see some zombies and even cows in here but they could make it like the deep dark biome, as all these features are still a work in progress. But if they do make it like the deep dark, that would make it quite creepy, as no other mob would be nearby. Then they have a cool animation of showing one of the villagers actually using the new creaking heart to actually summon in the creaking, so that comes over and attacks its fellow villager, which is pretty funny. They also talk about that we'll get to play around with these features very soon in snapshots as well as betas within a month or two. So it could be sooner, but it's probably not going to be no later than 2 months. And then it ended the main show, and then it was the after show. Once again, they told us that these are work in progress and early builds, and they might be subject to change. So the after show is more of a chill environment with these 3 different developers, and they're actually playing with these new features. So once again, we kind of see how the biome looks compared to the other biomes nearby. It's definitely different looking. And then we can see them bone milling the moss. It produces a bunch of grass around it. So similar to like bone milling actual grass blocks. They also show what happens when you bone mill the pale carpet. You can see it then produces that vine that's growing up the nearby blocks. So this could be used as a type of farm in order to get more of these kind of side growing vines. It'd be interesting if we can collect these either with silk touch or with shears. They're probably gonna be called like a moss vine wall version or something. So since it's like dark oak, we'll probably be able to farm this up similar to like a dark oak tree farm. And the hanging moss can probably be bone milled, and then we can collect that. It'll be interesting to see how the pale moss as well as carpets, if they generate very similar to how we have the current moss that generates in the game. That way you can just actually make a moss farm, but by switching out with the pale moss, you'll just get the pale moss drops instead. Let me know what you think of this. And we'll be curious to see if you need 4 saplings similar to like a dark oak in order to grow one of these big pale oak trees. And then they go ahead and summon in one of the new creaking mobs. They show how it's really camouflaged with the textures of the bark as well as the hanging moss. And then they go ahead and try to go into the forest at nighttime where the trees can actually spawn in the new creaking mob. So you can hear it made a very slight creaking noise as it was moving about. And it's really creepy how this thing will run towards you when you're not looking at it. Now Endermen, when they are mad at you, they'll run at you. If you look at them, they will stop and just freeze. And that same type of mechanic got kind of applied to these guys, which makes them really scary. But in order to kill them, the character is going around looking for their heart. But as he's moving through the forest, he's getting closer to other creaking hearts that are stuck inside these trees, which are summoning in new creaking mobs. And whenever he looks away from them, they all start coming towards him and they'll try to attack him. So it'll be interesting to see if you change your FOV, if you make it really wide, can you then make it so they don't attack you? Or if you're like an F5 mode, will they then not attack you? That'll be interesting. Yeah, there you can see he found the heart and he destroys it. That destroyed one of the creakings. So each creaking has their own heart. So it's not like this is like a mob spawner where we can get multiple creakings out of it. Each one will produce just one of them. So next up, they showed a bunch of builds that people made using the new block. This is also things that we've seen in the leaks, but we can get a nice up close look at all of these builds. You can see it is a very white. There is some grayish to it, but there isn't like any pink. I know some people were thinking that there was some pink to this new pale oak block, but it does go very well with the cherry wood, as you can see in these builds. You can see that the fences look really nice like normal fences. There's also the smooth variations of the wood, which blends in very well. The trap doors and doors look very unique. If you take a look at this door here, you can see it has some really big hinges as well as some really big handles. And they're really apparent, which I really liked about those. When it came to the trapdoors, you can see they also do have like little handles that are really apparent. They don't have any holes in them. Trapdoors are one of the few that don't actually have something where you can see through them, which is nice to have a variation when it comes to the trapdoors. I also really like the texture of the bark. They do show the sapling of it, which some people said looked like it was dead. But you know, it fits in with the whole kind of like weeping willow kind of look of it. Now if you are a builder, let me know what you think of this new white color. They said a lot of people were looking for more of a white color when it came to wood textures. So this will definitely fit in for that category. And then they go on to talk more about how this creaking heart works and the mechanics around it. So notice this creaking heart doesn't have any red color. They have this piston here. There's that lever. Everybody's wondering where the lever was at. But in order for the creaking heart to activate the creaking mob, it does need to have the new wood blocks on top and bottom. So notice when they activate this log and move it into place, this will turn the creaking heart from off into on. The player goes out of the range of the actual creaking heart block. The mob cannot chase after the player. It has to stay so close to the actual block because those two are connected. This is like a whole new mechanic that they were really excited to show off, and they didn't really do anything like this before in the past. And I'm really excited because I really like when they introduce new mechanics to the game. And sometimes it just becomes kind of a repeat when they just kind of retexture stuff or make stuff very similar. You can't really do anything interesting with it. But something like this I could definitely use. Now, one of the mechanics that the actual creature has is it cannot be pushed by the player or moved around because it's connected to the heart and it's kind of like controlling it as like a puppet. Now, they also illustrate that you cannot turn off the heart or disable it or get rid of the creaking mob just by removing the bottom log. You have to remove the actual heart. So even though it takes the two logs to summon in the creaking, removing just one of the logs or both logs won't actually turn it off. You have to actually destroy the heart, which you can do with Silk Touch so you can reuse it. But they do show how you can use this as a mechanic in order to prank your friends by having them activate some redstone, and then this will summon in the creaking. And because it will spawn in a certain area around the actual block, you could isolate a certain dark room so you know exactly where it will spawn in. That could be pretty useful as a way to summon in an entity on demand, where it really did have that type of control as much in the current survival game. I'm really curious what ideas you guys have for this mechanic. Now, I was hoping that the creaking heart was kind of like sap and it was sticky, maybe had some unique mechanics similar to like honey or slimestone, and I know quite a few guys wanted this too, but we just didn't see it. But hopefully they do add it in, which would also give us a reason to farm up these trees. Now, I'm really excited for all these new blocks and items and mobs because, as you guys know, I'm on a challenge to design an automatic farm for everything in the game Minecraft, and we're really close to completing everything, but then they come out with a new update with a whole bunch of new things. That's the whole joy of it. I really enjoy this, and I'm looking forward to designing some new farms, so make sure you guys are subscribed so you don't miss out on that. Now, having a mob that can't be moved, that's very similar to like a jockey, and this can actually be used in different situations for technical aspects and maybe even inside of farms. So I'm really excited to get my hands on this new critter and play around with it. Now, as they told us ahead of time, the entire Minecraft event was a lot more laid back and relaxed and less formal. Now, I really actually enjoyed this. Wasn't as much stuff crammed in. Allows us to take in all the different new things without being overloaded. They also said that they're going to try to come out with like at least two updates per year. So instead of packing everything into like one Minecraft live event, they're going to have two of these type of things. We're probably going to get one in the springtime or so. But let me know what you guys think. Was it a little bit lackluster for you guys? Now, especially since the biome and the mob were leaked prior to the event. That did take quite a bit away from the actual event, especially since the mechanics themselves weren't that fascinating when it came to the actual creaking. But yeah, they can always add more in before the actual final release. This is like even before snapshot stuff, so they can always come in with more. One thing I did notice is typically when they do these updates, they add something in for like builders, they add something in for like the redstone people, they add something in for like the command block people, as well as for like the PvP people, and I just didn't see as much variety when it comes to what they were showing. But like I said, they can always add in more later. And then they ended the after show by doing a little competition between two of the developers, trying to collect as many of these creaking hearts and placing them in the centerpiece here, while trying to avoid all the creakings which started piling up and attacking them. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this entire event down in the comments, and as always, thank you guys for all watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!